Hello, hello. You should be able to hear me now. Hopefully this is working. See, I'm still quite new to doing these lives, but I'm slowly upgrading and improving a little bit. Um, but hey, how is everyone today? How are you? It's a little bit, well, actually not a little bit. It's very, very rainy today. It's a miserable day. So it's very dark. Well, a little bit dark behind me. But yeah, good to be here. So hope you're all having a great Wednesday, whether it's morning or evening, anytime. So let me explain what this is. This is the second time I'm doing this now, and I'm calling it Level Up English Live. So for the past few months, I've been sending out weekly free email lessons to anyone subscribed to my email list. And on these email lessons, we're kind of learning vocabulary, grammar, all these different kind of things through stories. And I thought it would be great to add a video element to that as well. So that's what this is. This is a live video. If you want to check out the full lesson, you can go to the link in the description and head over to Level Up English and look at that later or now if you want to. But basically what we're going to do today is go through that lesson and learn anything new from it. I'll talk about it with you. And then afterwards, we're going to have a live question answer session. So if anyone wants to talk and hang out, if you have any questions, you can let me know. But that bit will be cut from the final edit of this live. You can only have a look now, and it'll be gone forever. But yeah, I've got a few people watching, so let me know who you are if you haven't already, and tell me where you're coming from, and then we can get into it. So all should be good. I need to change my settings a bit here. I'm still kind of new to these settings, so maybe I can do that. So what I'll do in just a second is I'll share my screen, and I'll take you over to the website. And the topic today is very interesting. We've got a topic about Instagram versus reality. Now, this is something that I find quite interesting anyway, and it's really about comparing yourself. I think it's especially problematic for younger people who see these kind of perfect people, these perfect images on social media. And got a little story about that today. We can look at some of that as well. And then Dolly is asking if I can please pronounce vocabulary in a British accent. I absolutely will, because I have a British accent, so of course I will. I would never do it any other way. So, for a second, you might see my streaming software because I haven't worked out how to get rid of it. But if I transition like this, you can see the chat here. And Adolfo says, I've got no Instagram account. Can I keep following? Of course you can keep following, yes. So this is this week's post, Instagram versus reality. I've changed the website a little bit, so we've got all of the lessons up on the side here. Last week we did, I believe, conjunctions, if I remember correctly. And this one, but yeah, we can hide that. So we've got Instagram versus reality. I gave the introduction here that social media can be a problem when we compare ourselves to these images too much. And I've been reading about it recently, so here's a lesson on the topic. If you don't want to watch this live, obviously you can't hear me, but there is also audio here of me kind of reading and talking to you on the lesson as well. So here's an example that I found online. Instagram, very skinny, perfect body. Reality, nothing wrong with reality. It's just not the same as Instagram, right? So that can cause a problem for people's self-image, I think, whether you're man or woman. So here is the story. I'll zoom in a little bit. And it's got some interesting vocabulary here. So I'm going to read it first, then we'll analyze the vocabulary. Let's go. Also, I should probably just check. If anyone cannot see or you can't hear me clearly, please let me know. No one's complaining, so I guess it's okay. But anyway. We are bombarded with carefully airbrushed images on social media on a daily basis. Celebrities and influencers make their best efforts to show only the best aspects of life. Images and events are cherry-picked so that we never get a chance to see behind the curtain. The editing and touch-ups on models can be particularly damaging, especially to young girls. People will look at these chiseled models and wonder why they can't look that way. Well, the truth is, the models don't look that way either. This goes to show that everything we see in the media and on social media should be taken with a pinch of salt. There's nothing wrong with having a well-curated social media page, but perhaps it's a good idea to think about the message we're sending out whenever we post something. Okay. So if you really want to be a good student, you can always listen to the audio later. Actually, there seems to be a problem with that one, so I'll fix that one after the live. But you can re-listen again later. But yeah, little article here. Quite advanced vocabulary as well. So let's have a look at that. If we go down, we've got the vocabulary section. Now I'm going to talk about them in a little bit more detail here. So yeah, I might occasionally go over to look at the chat to see what's going on as well. But I'll come back to you guys at the end. I won't ignore you. So the first one is to be bombarded. This is a passive verb. Passive is when we have the verb be, and then we have the past participle. So we say bombarded by someone. The active normal verb is just to bombard. If you're bombarded, that means you're under constant attack. Could be from bombs, like a war. Could be from questions. In this case, we'll go up to the story. We're bombarded with images. So that means every day they're kind of shoving all these photos down our throat, like we have to see them every day. It's like we're being attacked. It's kind of a negative feeling. Another example here is, I'm bombarded by questions from my parents whenever they see me with a girl. She's not my girlfriend. I'm sure many people can relate to that example. So be bombarded under constant attack. So let me know either in the YouTube comments or in the post, in the comments below this post. What are you bombarded by? Bombarded by questions, bombarded by images or criticisms, anything like that. Hopefully not bombs. The next one is to airbrush. This is kind of a compound verb, two things coming together, airbrush. Excuse me. Airbrush is a verb and it means to edit an image using software like Photoshop. And yeah, it really just means to Photoshop, to kind of fix something up, to touch up. We have that down below. It's very similar. And in the story, we had second one, carefully airbrushed images. So this example of that girl, that lady, that is a airbrushed image. Yeah, it's not her natural figure. So maybe you can let me know, be honest, have you ever airbrushed your own image? There's nothing wrong with it, of course. I think I have as well. I don't do it these days, but I used to. Airbrush an image. Have you ever done that? Another one is here. Justin Bieber's skin has been airbrushed to remove imperfections. imperfections are things that are not considered perfect, like spots or redness. Maybe it's not a problem, but people consider it to be an imperfection. And Adolfo's asking, is bombarded a synonym for bombed? And that's a good question. It's not quite a synonym. It's very similar. So bombard, I believe, does come from the word bomb. It's like related. Bombed can just mean like once, though. Like one bomb will come and attack you or hit you. Bombarded is like again and again and again. So it's less about the attack and more about the repetition. So usually it's negative, but I can ask you, feel free to bombard me with questions. I'd be happy with that. And Dolly says, I am bombarded by law teachers and online classes. That's a perfect example. Good job. Yeah, feel free to write your examples, and there's always a little bit of a delay on live classes, but I'll read them at some point. To cherrypick is another compound verb. Cherry pick. This means to pick only the best ones for display or to use. So it comes from, of course, picking cherries. I don't know if you've ever picked fruit before, but of course, if you're picking cherries, you'll keep the nice ones. The horrible ones that maybe have got bugs in them or holes in them, you'll leave them or throw them on the floor. You won't pick them. Of course, that's natural, and we do the same thing with social media. You know, throughout your day, you have some good things and some bad things happen. I'm going to post on Instagram a picture of the beach, a picture of the sunset. I'm not going to post a picture of a dead bug that I see. That's not nice. So I'm going to cherry pick that one out. So we can use it as a regular verb, cherry picked, past tense. She cherry picked quotes from my book to criticize. So she wasn't really honest. She didn't quote me in the context. It kind of took me out of context and made me look bad. In the story, we said images and events are cherry-picked, so we can't see how it really is. So that's the problem, really, isn't it? Then we said the cherry-picked, so we can never see behind the curtain. This is an expression, and as I said here, it comes from the theatre, and it really means to see the reality of something. So it's quite a nice metaphor, really. If you have a look, or have a peek, like a quick look, behind the curtain, you're seeing not the perfect display, the makeup, the clothes, the props. You're seeing what it's really like, the stress of people, the people putting on makeup and getting ready, the director freaking out. And it's very much the same on social media, isn't it? I'm sure if you could see if you could see, like, Kim Kardashian or someone like that in everyday life, they wouldn't be as, graceful and elegant as they seem most of the time, right? So once you see behind the curtain of show business, you realize how dark it can be. Maybe behind these beautiful Hollywood movies, there's some really horrible things happening. Well, we know there is, right? In some cases. So 4 more to go, not too much more. The next one is to touch up. To touch up. This is a phrasal verb. It has a few meanings. One of them is quite bad. We won't get into that today. But in this case, it means to make a quick improvement to something. So as we said before, you can touch up a photo, which is like make a small edit to a photo. In the story, we spoke about touch-ups. So this is a really interesting point. If you notice the verb, there's no hyphen. Hyphen is like this line. There's no hyphen in the verb because we don't usually do that. Well, Cherrypick, there is a hyphen. I don't know about that one. Sometimes we do. Maybe that one is the best. Maybe that's the best choice. I'll have to look into that. But it's not so important anyway. But it's good to know if you're writing quite often when we have a adjective or a noun, we will use a hyphen. We'll see that later on down here. But with Touchup, this is a noun. So to touch up becomes touch up with a hyphen. And it depends on the word. There's many exceptions. But yeah, we said the touch-ups on models can be damaging. It really just means the edits in that case. Another example I've got here. Just make sure you touch up your makeup before leaving the house. We've got touch up and makeup, two similar phrasal verbs. And it just means maybe you missed a spot of mascara or something like that. You need to touch up on the makeup. But yeah, think about what else could you touch up? There's a few things like art or decorating a house. What else? Have a think about it and let me know. Adolfo says, this lesson is touching up my English. Oh, that's a good example. I would say we probably wouldn't use it in that way. We probably wouldn't say something is touching up my English. We might say, I need to touch up on my English. We would say brush up on my English. That's a good point though. That's a good point. I would say, maybe I'll edit this afterwards, but maybe touch up is usually more physical. It's not so much about your skill, maybe about a painting or something you can see, something you're creating maybe. So that's a good point. I think I'll edit that afterwards because I think it's a bit more specific. But I'm glad you're brushing up on your English, of course. The next word is chiseled, and that's an adjective, and it comes from the verb to chisel, which is like when you, well, not you maybe, but when people make a sculpture, like a stone statue of a person. They use a hammer and a chisel. The tool is called a chisel, and they chisel, verb, the sculpture. And chiseled usually is like used to describe a man's face, like his bone structure. So it's usually describing a man who has a very strong bone line, and it looks like he's made from rock. It looks like he's been chiseled because it's so perfect. And the meaning can be a bit wider. I wrote here, strongly and clearly defined, like a sculpture. So I don't think I have a very chiseled jawline, but some people do. I said here, people will look at these chiseled models. So in this way, we're really just saying the models look like statues. It looks like they've been created because they're so perfect. And another example, behind his chiseled jawline is a sensitive man who just needs a hug. Maybe that can go for many men, many of these big, manly men. Maybe they just need a hug, you know. What do you guys think? Do you think you're chiseled? Do you have kind of strong, defined bone structure and maybe abs and muscle? Are you chiseled? Or maybe you're more like me, not so much. I'll do some questions at the end, some longer questions at the end. But thanks, Adolfo, for sticking with me today. Next expression is to take something with a pinch of salt. This is really common. Take with a pinch of salt. We also say, what was the other one? Take with a grain of salt. We can say grain as well. And this is to not believe everything someone says. Don't believe everything. And one example, let's go to the story. We said everything in the media should be taken with a pinch of salt. So that means sometimes you can believe things, maybe it's a true picture, but always keep in the back of your mind that it might be edited, it might be fake, it might not be real. Always keep that in mind. And I gave another example. He always lies, so take what he says with a pinch of salt. Yeah, so don't believe everything he says. So have a think about it. Again, do you have any friends who always tell the truth? You can believe them word for word. Or maybe you have some friends that you don't fully trust, in which case you should take what they say with a pinch of salt. Do you know anyone like that? Let me just check here. Everything seems okay. Final word then. We have well curated. Now this is a compound adjective. So the verb is to curate. And this is used to mean select, organize, and look after something. It's very often used in like museums and art galleries. So the person who works in a museum is called a curator. O-R, curator. So he curates all the items in a museum. He looks after them. If you think he curates them well, we can join well to curate, well meaning good, and say well curated. That means it's been very carefully looked after and organized. I like to think that my Instagram is well curated. You know, I will try to make it look as beautiful as I can because I want it to look nice, of course. But it can be a problem when you're only showing the nice things, as we said. Well curated. So do you have a well curated collection of books? Do you have a well curated Instagram page? Maybe you have some kind of well curated display in your house. Let me know. Let me know. But that's really the story. So as I said here, practice these new words in the comments. I'm always happy to see that, and I'm always happy to correct any mistakes if you'd like me to as well. And that's it. So it's fairly simple stories every single week. If you like this, check back next Wednesday at 11 o'clock, where I should be doing another one, barring any technical difficulties. So we'll see. So thank you very much. And at this point, I'm going to end the, not the live, but I'll end the screen share, and I will make this bigger so you can only see me. And here we go. So that should be okay now. And we've got a few people watching live. So at this point, if you have any questions, now would be a good time to ask me. If not, maybe I can just go. But if you've got anything you want to ask me, anything on your mind, then we can have a talk about it now. So let's see what Dolly said before. Michael, does it really matter? Does it really matter means when we writing a letter to send to someone? Ah, I see what you mean. So if I understand correctly, are you asking, does it really matter if we have to send a letter to someone for a job, for example, to use powerful vocabulary? Are you talking about kind of formal and informal English? I mean, if so, then it definitely does matter. I think having a good sense of formality is really important, because I can speak from my personal experience as well. If you miss one simple thing, like it could just be forgetting to say hello, maybe you just kind of get right into your message. I find it quite rude. And I think if you're doing a formal letter, that can be very rude as well. There's a lot to learn about formal writing, but it's very important to kind of, you know, try to learn how to be polite and formal. You mentioned using powerful vocabulary. And I think that's really good if you can use some advanced vocab. Same goes for me in English. Like, how can I say it? Sometimes I try to use words that are too advanced for my level, even in English. I don't fully understand them. In that case, it can sound a bit strange. So try maybe only use words that you're comfortable with, but obviously try and push yourself at the same time. But yeah, it's a very big topic, formal writing. I think it's a good thing to research, and I want to do some maybe videos or podcasts on that in the future. But I hope that answered your question anyway. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your support, Dolly. Any more questions from anyone? I think Adolfo's gone now, but thank you very much for hanging out with me today. But let me know if there's anything else you want to know. Or maybe just tell me your plan for today. I don't have much plan because I said it's raining so heavily today. So I think I'm going to be staying inside. But this evening, I'm going to... I'll tell you guys first. I'm going to be recording a very special podcast episode. I'll be recording with a guy called Rob. He is a British English teacher like me. And it should be fun. I'm going to do one episode for his podcast. He's going to do one for mine. And this will be released in September. So a little bit to wait, but you heard it here first. Hopefully, it's a good one. I don't have any more questions coming in at the moment, so I'll end it here. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching and hanging out with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you, hopefully, I'll see you next week. See you then. Bye-bye.